Here's a question. What would you expect the future of instructional technology to be in schools 5 or perhaps 10 years from now? Would you expect there to be more technology use or less? Well, for my money, I would expect there to be no question about this. There'll be tons more technology use in future schools and learning environments in school and at home. What kinds of technologies? Will they come from the school, from educational providers? Well, if we have our past experience to go by, they will all come from our technological culture. And schools normally have just kind of a school inertia, but the cultural influence is enough to to be more powerful than the school inertia, and to kind of kicking and screaming, perhaps schools will adopt these technologies. The technologies themselves come from the consumer or business technology world, and then they are adapted to schools, as go on now. So what are some of the emerging technologies today that we can expect tomorrow in class? Well, we already have the Apple Watch. It's pretty expensive now, but just like laptops and tablets, it'll be cheaper. And already, well, in 2013, a survey of online adults said that nearly 30% would wear technology on their wrist, about 30% clipped onto their clothing, fewer clipped onto their shoe or embedded in their clothing or embedded in jewelry. Not so many want their glasses or their headphones or earbuds to be wearable technology. Maybe the nerd factor they don't like. But interestingly, 4% would wear technologically enhanced contact lenses, and 3% technology tattooed on their skin. Now, it won't look nerdy. The advertising for this stuff will look more like this, where sensors embedded on socks or a tricorder glove or whatever. It will look cool, like an Apple commercial. But let's think beyond those sensors. How about sensors that can actually sense your brain? We have them now. The Muse, for example, is one. And these sensors pick up brainwaves behind your ears, and there are little dots, sensors here that pick up your forehead brainwaves also. But if you have hair to cover that, it looks like just a normal headband. It doesn't look too nerdy. And how is this used today? Well, here's a woman who is a quadriplegic. She has not held anything in her hand for years, but her brain is controlling this robot hand, and she will be moving this straw so that she can feed or drink on her own for the first time in years. This is controlled by her brain waves through a sensor implanted in her brain, kind of like this. We can see how that would be done today for someone who is seriously disabled. How about for your child 10 years from now, if that gives them particular competitive enhancements? How about 3D immersive learning? Well, you're 3D immersed in a classroom today. Imagine if there could be projections on the wall to put you into the 3D immersion of perhaps a great piece of children's literature that you're learning, or a game that you will be playing with the game board projected on the floor, or a historical museum or event. Or in science, how about if you could go inside the eye to explore the retina, right through the iris and the pupil? Well, the way to get into that seriously is to make your present 3D environment go away, and we have capabilities of doing that. This is the Oculus Rift. Behind here are two screens, and those two screens give this girl 3D perception of the reality that is projected to her. If she looks up, She doesn't see the ceiling of the room. She can't see this guy if she looks to her right. She will see what is to the right of her virtual environment. If she looks to the back, she can see all around her in a virtual 3D environment, which can be a learning environment. We have the first learning software now for this, and that's the Google Cardboard Expeditions. So this is Google Cardboard. It's actually cardboard. There are a couple of plastic lenses in it, so the whole thing costs maybe $8. If you pry away this flap and open it up, you put your cell phone in there so that the edge of the cell phone is right here. You can see part of it peeking out there. And if this boy looks up, he sees what's up in his virtual world. If he looks down or to the right, he's looking around in his world. He's not seeing his immediate environment. So this exists today in Google Expeditions, free, and we can expect this low-cost technology to take off as education providers create material there. No talk of the future of technology in schools would be complete without robotics and the artificial intelligence that powers it. And in this example, we have a team in one of the annual First Robotics competitions. And their Lego robot has done something either that they're thrilled about or horrified about. So here's a better example of what a Lego robot can look like. This little brick is the programmable brick that allows it to have intelligence, and all of the pieces are Lego pieces, so kids put them together using what they know. Older kids may use the VEX robotics kits, where they can be creative, design robotic pieces from robots from pieces that were designed to make robots. Well, that's robotics from the kid perspective. What about teachers as robots? This is one. In 2009, a Japanese roboticist who had spent 15 years developing a robotic teacher actually got to test this in front of a class of 5th graders and 6th graders. And these are the 5 human emotions of fear, anger, disgust, to try to make her more human. I don't think that she has taken over the classrooms in Japan yet, but you can imagine a day when it may not be ridiculous to have an actual robot teacher. What else can kids learn in school today with robotics? Well, there's something called the maker movement, and 3D printers are a real key in that. So you can imagine a geometry class creating something to be printed that could never be drawn on paper. So the complexity of their ideas can be really expanded with 3D printing. Or with a technology class or something with mechanics, possibly mathematics, where you can create intricate gears. Then you don't have to buy them, you can make them. Or a biology class studying ancient life. You can actually print something like a dinosaur head. And this is in a low-cost 3D printer, the MakerBot Replicator. These cost $2,000 or less. What else can you do with this maker movement idea? What else can kids make with technologies? Well, this is an Arduino programmable microprocessor board. You can't see it well, but it costs under $100. And with that, a child can solder leads on it, connect remote sensors and actuators. So this particular Arduino is controlling the robot eyes. And how do you do that? Well, you need some things set up like you would do in a technology education class, something like soldering guns and adults who can supervise this. But in this way, kids get to understand the technologies that are making their future world. So, those are some peeks into the emerging technologies of today that can make a big impact in schools tomorrow. What are today's technologies that we expect to expand into use tomorrow? Well, you can imagine that there are loads of highly interactive computer games, mobile games, that can be given educational content in ways that are just a ton of fun to play. Or talented teachers today are using technology to support project-based learning and the development of authentic projects for their community or their school. Uh, and we have social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and these today can be used to support social or team-based learning, often in project-based learning or in other ways. It's important to note that this is not just in school. These are common technologies that can be used at home, in the museum, in the library. These are empowering technologies for our students tomorrow. And I, for one, can't wait to see how tomorrow's kids will learn through emerging technologies.